in the other house, yes. So anytime we needed water, we'd go to the well and let it down, and then we bring it up, and that's how we had got the water.
You continue on here. We have plenty to eat each day. Most of it grows on our farm. All of us kids help Mama manage the animals and the vegetables. Mama says our farm is 1 acre, but it feels as big to me as a whole meadow. I help tend to the garden and collect eggs. Our garden needs attention nearly every day in the spring and summer to keep the weeds away and the vegetables picked as they ripen. We also have chicken, cows, and geese. So is the farm located on your house in Main Street, or is it somewhere else?
Oh, no.
It's right there.
It's right there, but we also have a lot of land out of the village, like maybe a couple of miles away. Okay, where it's we grow the wheat and the corn, and I don't know what else, but all the bread that we ate came from the wheat. Okay, so we did not have enough room to the area where we lived, so we had additional land out of the village, and that's where they used to grow all the corn and the wheat.
Got it. You say this, Tata says the bar mitzvah is simple, but it changes everything for a boy. He becomes a man and may in turn learn a trade, or may intern to learn a trade. Once he completes his internship, he begins to work. Girls don't have a bar mitzvah, but they do sometimes learn a trade when they finish school after 6th grade. Many girls become seamstresses because knowing how to sew for a family is important. Most girls marry by the time they are 18 or 20 with the help of a matchmaker. Girls plan to get married and become a mother, so learning a trade is less important for them. So is that where you saw your life going?
Right.
Just you'll 18 or 19 or 20, you'll get the matchmaker will come along.
Right.
Give you a match. This wouldn't have worked with my daughters, I'll tell you.
That's how life was in those days. Simple, but it was great.
Yeah.
Till the war broke out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, again, this really idyllic picture. Even though our village isn't very big, it has nearly everything we need. When I walk down the street, many people I see are Jewish. Mama says there are about 2,000 people in Serdin. How do you say the name of that?
Serednje.
Serednje. I'm going to try that one again.
Well, it's Serdne. Serednje. It's right between Munkac and Ungvar.
And this is a pretty rural place.
Yes. I don't know how many people we had there, but I don't think we had more than between 1,500 and maybe, I don't think we had 2,000 people there. But the next towns on either side of us, they had like 20 to 25,000 people in each, like Ungvar and Munkac, okay?
And they were about half an hour away, is that right?
Well, it was, I would say, 20 miles on either side, but that was and Serednje means middle. So if anybody wanted to go from Serednje to Munkac or Ungvar, it was like about 20 miles, but if anybody wanted to go from Munkac to Ungvar, they had to go through Serednje. That was the only road over there.
You guys also had a pharmacy, a dressmaker, a fabric store, a cabinet maker, and a pots and pans maker, where you can either buy new pots and pans or get your old ones repaired.
Repaired, right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's an open market.
Farmer's market.
Farmer's market.
Middle of the town.
You said you had an uncle that lived in the States that sometimes sent you things.
Right.
And you were pretty proud to have things from America.
Right. It was exciting. Things that we didn't have. Unfortunately, I never met my uncle.
Okay.
We came to this country, and he didn't want to know us. I don't know why. When we came to the United States, the Jewish organization was involved in that, okay? Mm-hmm. Even though my husband's family sent us affidavits to come to America, but still the Jewish organizations needed to know who's coming, what's coming, and everything else. So they asked me, do I have any relatives from my side of the family, not Max's side? I said, yes, I have an uncle who lives in McKeesport, and my mother's brother. Okay, and we used to actually correspond with him from when we lived in Europe, and and when we came to America, I even tried to be in touch, and we did. Spoke on the phone sometime or corresponded, but they never invited us to come to meet them. We lived in New York. We came to New York in 1951, and so the first year wasn't too easy, but after 1 year we found my husband's uncle had an apartment house, so we got a 2-bedroom apartment house, which was great in those days. And I used to write to them, I have room, you could come and stay with me, we'd love to meet you. They never invited us, so we never met them.
Well, you mentioned your husband. Let's jump into Max a little bit.
Right.
Because you both wrote this book. You both have both your stories, kind of how you started separately and then eventually you get together. But Max gives his kind of childhood, which was certainly different than yours.
Right.
It comes pretty clear that you were a country girl and he was a city boy.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So he says, my name is Max Schindler. I was born on June 18th, 1929, and I'm 8 years old. My family lives in Cottbus. Am I saying that right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Cottbus, Germany.
Cottbus,
Germany, which is south of Berlin. Dad says this is a big city with 55,000 people. We live in a multi-story apartment building that is filled with families. That is why there are so many boys to play with after school every day. Dad knows so many good people and has friends everywhere. Sometimes he goes out to play cards with his friends, but otherwise he is at home with us every night. My parents tell us they have come a long way in life. They are both originally from Poland and speak Polish fluently. They met, fell in love, and married in Poland. However, they wanted more than their farm life and developed a plan to move to Germany. They speak German well and enjoy the modern life and progressive teachings of Germany. Dad said it was important to them to move to the city before having kids, so they did just that. Dad says Germany is known for its advanced knowledge in science, innovative ways to get information to everyone quickly, and new ways to produce things. He says Germany is the place to get the best education, so we will have the most opportunities in life. My mom and dad really like Germany. And again, this is just, this is 1937, right? And totally having a great life in Germany.
Yes.
He says, my dad, Benjamin, is one of 9 children. He says his family is very religious, following all the Jewish laws about how to live. Therefore, he is the one who teaches us about our religion. Dad says he's pleased to see how we are growing up. He is more relaxed than his other family members about our faith and likes to say, we are German first and Jewish second. Dad had fewer business opportunities in Poland, but he found a good business in Germany. He runs a wine and liquor store. He makes enough money for us to live in our large apartment and have a maid. Our apartment is filled with new furniture and fancy carvings. So he's doing pretty good.
Right.
The Schindlers.
Yes.
Every Friday night we attend Shabbat services at the synagogue. There aren't a lot of Jews in my neighborhood or apartment building, but there are plenty at the synagogue. Many of our friends go to churches in town. No one cares which faith other people practice. It seems like families only talk about their faith at home. So again, I had to mention that because religion wasn't at the forefront of people's minds. They weren't sitting there thinking about it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the opening of the book. And again, I skip through a bunch of it, but it kind of lays out, the country girl and the city boy.
Right.
But I thought that it was important to point out both of you living very nice, comfortable, enjoyable lives in these different areas.
Yes.
The next chapter is called Winds of Change.
Unfortunately.
So you say life is changing. I don't like 4th grade as much as 3rd grade. It is harder than last year, and other kids won't help me. So far, 1938 is not my best year. I don't understand why, but some of my friends are not talking to me as much as they used to. Some have even started ignoring me. I find myself mostly talking to my Jewish friends. So this is 1938.
Right.
And you're starting to, even as a kid, even as a fourth grader, you're realizing that some of the kids that would talk to you before, all of a sudden they're not talking to you anymore.
All of a sudden, we don't have the rights anymore. So many things are changing daily. Unbelievable. I'm
going to fast forward a little bit. Within a few weeks, on the way home from school, I see soldiers in the village. I've never seen soldiers before, and I smile and wave at them as I walk toward our house. None of the soldiers wave back at me, and suddenly I feel scared. When I get home, I ask Mama and Tata why the soldiers have come to Serednye. Did I get it?
Serednye. Yes.
Serednye.
Pretty good.
They tell us the soldiers are Hungarians, and they are here to take over. Tata says there may be changes coming, but we are not to worry. After a few weeks, I realize Tata is right. Many things are changing now with the Hungarians' arrival, and none of the changes are good. No one knows what is happening, yet no one resists. When I ask Tata why no one does anything, he says that we have to follow the rules and be good citizens. This doesn't quite make sense to me, but he explains that I will understand more when I'm older. So even you're I guess you're 9 years old, and when you see the Hungarians show up and you see this kind of intimidation starting, even you think, hey, why aren't we saying anything?
Well, sometimes the less you say is better. And if you complain too much, you might get into trouble. That's another thing. All of a sudden, we don't have the rights like we used to before. We were practically the leaders of the village, the Jewish people, because they were all in business. And mostly all the non-Jewish people were mostly farmers. And we got along very well. We had no problems at all.
You continue on. Now the adults seem frightened when I go into the village. In town, all the adults huddle together in small groups. I watch as they cautiously look over their shoulders before whispering together for several minutes. No one smiles and waves to me as they usually did. This puzzles me, but I figure it has something to do with the fact that everyone becomes nervous when a Hungarian soldier walks by. I also notice that people who go to our synagogue no longer talk with people that are not Jewish. I don't understand why, because until things started to change, everyone had been nice to one another. When I visit Tata at his shop, I only see Jewish customers. Tata had made suits for everyone, so it seems strange to me. Tata says not to worry about it. Tata also says that everyone is nervous about what the change to Hungarian rule will mean for our village. Over the next few weeks, the Hungarians make many changes. The biggest changes for us kids is that all Jews are not allowed to go to our public school, and we must be inside our homes by 6 p.m. in the evenings. They call this a curfew. It makes me sad because I like to play outside until the sun sets and Mama calls us in for dinner. The neighborhood kids have become mean to us, throwing rocks and calling us names like Dirty Jew.
Unfortunately.
One day when I'm walking and talking with Yutki, a boy calls us from across the street. Stop laughing and behave yourself, you dirty Jews. He yells as he picks up a rock. I will hurt you if you don't. So the kids, everyone.
Yeah, it was terrible.
It is September 1939 and I'm nearly 10 years old. I don't like the new Hungarian rules, but we are doing fine and staying at home with Mama. I don't miss going to school at all. Tonight, Tata has a strange look on his face when he walks in the house. He looks pale and is pacing back and forth. He seems to be having trouble saying what he means. Then he tells Mama that his shop and everything in it are gone. Gone? What do you mean? Mama asks, her eyes getting big. I can see her hands start to shake as she suddenly sits down heavily on one of the kitchen chairs. I was cutting fabric when 3 Hungarian soldiers walked into the shop. They approached me and told me that all of us have to leave. They said that all Jewish businesses now belong to them and that we too were to leave and never to return. Tata's voice shakes. He too sits down on the chair, running his hands through his hair. So now